We're in a game of League, and I'm about to show you how to win your games as Tryndamere. What is up, guys? My name is MipZ, and welcome back to yet another League of Legends video. So today we're playing in none other than Tryndamere. So this champion is quite honestly freaking amazing. He is so much fun to play, and he's one of those champs that actually a lot of high elo players or even pro players tend to use whenever they're climbing through low elo. And the reason for this is that this is a champion where you have an immensely big potential to solo carry the games through what we call macro play, meaning that your decision making around the map and putting pressure on your opponent to react in the right way is somewhere where a lot of pros really are. They're insanely strong in this, and this allows them to literally just solo carry the games just by pure chess play, which is really cool. Anyway, this champion is not only that, but he's just a really fun one to play. He's a great duelist, and yeah, I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this one. So for those of you who are new in here, then what I'm gonna be doing in this video is that I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to play Tryndamere in the early, mid, and late games, so the overall strategy, what you want to be thinking about, and what you want to be doing. So yeah, if you do like this video, make sure to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe down below. And if you want to hang out with me live, then go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. All right, anyway, as we're running into lane, then we have a couple of things to talk about. First of all, Tryndamere's level 8 is level 1 is surprisingly good. And the reason for this is actually that he has if you take your Q, he deals more damage the lower he gets, plus he's passive, which basically just means that you more or less trade most people. In terms of playing against this puppy, he is gonna go for some traits right here, which of course does bring us a little lower in HP. But the thing is that we have the ability to get our HP back throughout our Q. This guy has already been forced to use his potions. Right now, I'm actually just gonna let him push a little bit. I am not like, we don't necessarily need to play hyper aggressive here. We got a bit of his HP, we got one of his potions off, and we're in a pretty decent state. This has not been the greatest traits of all time, but the thing with Tryndamere is that he's kind of this very safe pick where you have the ability to just out heal and out sustain your opponents. This is actually one of the reasons why there's been several people using Tryndamere in mid lane, and that actually works surprisingly well. If you guys want to see a video of how to play Tryndamere mid lane sometime, just tell me in the comment section and I'll see whether or not it makes sense and if it's something we should do. But yeah, Tryndamere has absolutely ridiculous sustain, and since he also works in the mid lane, it's mostly because people just in the mid lane just don't know how to deal with him, and he out sustains pretty much all of them. All right, so for this champion, basically what you want to be doing here in the early game is that we want to be thinking about the fact that we are playing to run down our opponent. This is where I see the biggest mistakes from a lot of players playing again or playing Tryndamere, is that they tend to just push the lane under the enemy turret constantly. And this is actually really bad for Tryndamere in general, because what Tryndamere wants to do, the core of this champion, is he doesn't really have any crowd control, but what he lacks in crowd control, he has in damage. So by doing this, instead you want to actually be pushed as far back as possible, to the extent where you're just like not under turret but very close to, if possible. I'm gonna keep an eye on Chick over there. But getting pushed up close to your turret is not a bad thing, and the reason for this is simply that it gives you the space you need in order to actually run down your opponent. If you push them under their turret, your only option for actually killing them is by diving them, which is like really freaking risky. So in this idea, I think it makes kind of a lot of sense. This is also why you do run Ghost this is also why you run Ghost on Tryndamere, is basically because of the fact that he can do this. Right here, I'm gonna heal up a little bit healthy, and what we're gonna do in a moment is that we're gonna run this poppy down. We are gonna first do a couple of things. First of all, I want to be a little more healthy than I am right now. Then we're gonna build up our rage. This is gonna increase our overall damage, and once we've done that, then we'll just run this guy down. So right here, if he doesn't poke me too much more, and if he doesn't back out, then we'll be able to run him down in about a moment. We'll put a slow on him. He did poke us down once again. A good timing for him, because otherwise it would actually mean he's 100% death in just a moment. So he bought himself a bit more time. He may back here. All right. He didn't choose to do so, which is great for us. So we'll just keep doing this a little bit. We'll try and get a little bit more healthy, or till we get our level 6. And then we're basically able to run him down. And we're going to build up our rage. It's quite important that you build up your rage, because this significantly increases your damage. And then once we get lower HP, we're like literally going to be an absolute monster. So right here, I'm going to trade a little bit each time. There's no point in me just taking free damage. Right here, we can slow him down. I'm actually not even going to do that much more. I'm going to use my heal just as a safety precaution in case he had some kind of burst. But right there, you can see just how easy a kill it is on Tryndamere here. But yeah, a really core thing with Tryndamere is that you're playing. It's quite important that you win the 1v1, because as a Tryndamere, you want to split push and you want to keep running down this lane. So it's quite important that you're really good at dealing with your own lane. And with Tryndamere, you'll see this from even the best Tryndamere players. They are trying to let their opponent push to them, because this puts them in a situation where they have the room and the space they need to run down their opponent. If they have to go dive them, it's a super risky play. We will be able to do this eventually, and it is something you can do every now and then. That's not what I'm saying, but it's always much more risky trying to run somebody down under their turret than it is just letting them push up to you, pop your ghost, and just smack them in your sword like it's a chair several times, and they will feel this searing pain like striving through their entire body as they lose their lane and start crying, call for their jungler. Their jungler comes back up. You're pretty fed at this point, and you just kill both of them instead, which is pretty cool. And this is kind of how Tryndamere works, and this is what we want to be playing around. So again, I'm not going to use my E to try and shove this back. I am, however, at this point going to start a little bit to just go in, do quick trades. This is something that's really good, especially if you're playing against something like a Malphite or something else that has a lot of sustain. Then going in for like really quick trades where you run up to them, smack them in their face, and then E out of there instantly as you hit them with your auto attack. This is a really cool quick trade that you can do that really doesn't punish you a lot and doesn't make you very unhealthy in your lane. You can also go for longer trades, but in these cases, then you'll end up in a scenario where you'll have to, this was actually a misplay, where you'll have to play a bit more defensive for a longer time, and thereby you're not going to put as much pressure. So pretty often it is better to go for really quick short trades, going in, auto attacking, and then E and out of there, than it is going for longer trades, because usually those are going to go more even, and it's going to take you a little while to heal back up. And the thing with Tryndamere is he's pretty easy to farm under turret. It is really not a problem with him. And you can see what we're doing here. We're actually just freezing the lane. We're forcing Poppy to go here in order to do anything. I'm just going to make sure that... whoop, I actually messed that one up. That he's not somewhere else on the map. Because if we do see this Poppy like push bot or like TP somewhere, then we are going to go ahead and we're going to push it as much as we can. Right here, yep, I had the feeling that they were probably... Oh, wow. I actually missed that. That was horrendous. What I wanted to check was whether or not that he was on the rift. He apparently wasn't, which is cool, of course. But at that point, I didn't really know where Poppy or where their Shaco was. So this is why we wanted to just check that. But I failed my ward, which is sad. All right, I want to make sure I get this one, that one. And we'll just trade a little bit with him. I am looking to back pretty soon. All right, we'll back out of here. This is a pretty bad trade. The thing is, right now, I actually don't know where Shaco is, so I'm not going to risk it. Instead, we're just going to go ahead and back. We can finish off our brutes, and we can start pretty soon building into finishing our Kraken Slayer. As we get the Kraken Slayer, this lane is going to turn into something that is a lot easier for us to deal with. But for now, we just want to make sure that we play safe and we don't throw a lead, because we are ahead. We did get that one kill. We're pretty safe in farm. And we are sitting on all of our summoners, meaning that as soon as he makes a mistake, like Poppy makes a mistake, then we will punish it. All right, so talking about the early game, as you guys can hear, it's a lot about finessing around your lane and figuring out how do you win this 1v1 or how do you set up for a kill. So setting up for a kill for your jungle is pretty much the same. It is allowing your enemy to kind of push. But yeah, as I'm saying, then Tryndamere is in general best at just sitting back in lane, waiting for, or not waiting, but forcing his top laner to go to his side. And that's where we strike. That's where it's gonna, like, Tryndamere is so hard to get away from once he's on you because of the fact that you can spin. You most people do play with Ghost for this reason. Because we don't have any crowd control, we only have our slow from our W. So in that fashion, it is quite important. A few things I want to talk about that a lot of people don't know about Tryndamere is, for one, that our W actually can show us whether or not somebody's hiding in a bush. The way it does this is that your W is actually only usable if you are close to an enemy. So if an enemy is within your circle of this ability. So this basically means that it's only going to be available in the cases where, right here, I'm actually just going to go ahead. I'm not going to be using all my abilities, but I am just going to kind of get a little bit into his face there. He did use quite a bit on us. We'll give it a second. We'll try again. I'm going to heal up a little bit here. And we'll just go ahead. I'll build some rage. Go for like some short, quick trades now. And the thing is, right now, he's in a scenario where Poppy kind of just have to go for the farm. And as we're doing this right here, we're popping our ult. We don't even have to do anything else than auto him. He didn't try and flee away. And this is the thing that Tryndamere kind of cheats most people in terms of when they can actually trade with him. And Tryndamere is extremely good at these. So right here, I was just pretty safe. I knew I win this engage without a freaking doubt. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. One of the things I could do, if I knew where Shaker was, I assume he's bot side, but I didn't know for sure. I do now. But if I had known that, I wouldn't have healed and I would have kept my rage. Because this would actually have allowed me to push the top lane even faster. Because you do more damage when you have more rage and when you're low HP. And this also works on turrets. So if you know where everybody is, if there's accounted for all of the enemy opponents, then let yourself stay on low health as long as it's safe, and go ahead and push those turrets even quicker. This is quite a good tip that a lot of people I see that play Tryndamere that doesn't really micromanage this thing. In the end game, it is not what's necessarily going to make the difference. It is a small advantage that you can push. If you are Tryndamere one trick, you should know this and you should learn it. But for the majority, it's more about the overall macro plays we're going to talk more about. Alright, so as we're moving back in lane, we're going to do the same thing again. Now we are a lot stronger. As soon as we get the Kraken Slayer, however, we're going to start really running this guy down. But yeah, for the early game, the way you want to play it is quite simple. You just want to go ahead and 1v1. You want to try and see if you can let your enemy push to you. Not on their turret necessarily, but as close to you as possible, or to your turret as possible without turret hitting the minions. That is ideal because it gives you the most space to run them down. And that's definitely what we want to be playing for. Like right here, I'm going to go ahead. We'll just kind of shoving this guy away. You can see at this point, he's actually getting really frightened of us. I made a mistake right here and just want to point this out. You don't actually want to take more levels in your ult before at the very end. The reason for this is actually that, as you guys know, the passive side of Tryndamere with his Q and his what's it called? His normal passive is that. Oh, I see that we're getting some pings up here. They're on their way, so we're backing out. I do have ult, so we are pretty safe. But the passive side of these things makes Tryndamere deal more damage the lower he is. The thing is that when you take more levels into your ult, then the max HP that, or the HP, the health that your what's it called, your ult holds you at becomes higher. And this is of course not an ideal thing, because you want to try to the best of your ability on Tryndamere to stay as, like, the lower the better, the more damage you deal. So generally speaking, you do not want to take this you do not want to take the level in your ult before at the very end. You only want to take the first level. All right, so in terms of the laning phase, you just want to make them push to you. You want to try and push your advantage. Pretty often you can actually go ahead, and even at level 1 you can pretty often duel people, and level 2 you also have a pretty strong level 2 play. So do remember these and play around them, because you can pretty often get a first blood on Tryndamere because people don't expect the damage that you actually pull off on this champion as you get lower HP. They think that you're just like a sustained same health. She needs to not use this rift. Don't. Oh my god, that was really dumb. The reason why I didn't want her to use the rift here is quite obvious. It's actually because of the fact that this has 1 HP and I'm gonna get it anyway. Using this rift mid would have been like so much better. Right here, I'm not gonna be using my ghosts because we actually don't need it. So now we do. Now we're gonna go ahead and use it. We're gonna go under turret. And I'm an absolute idiot for not clicking ult at the proper time. All right, so yeah, this is one of the things with Tryndamere that we all can make mistakes on. I've done this several times, and I think everybody who has played Tryndamere has done this, is that they've messed up their ult and clicked it too late. And this is what I did here. It's one of the things with Tryndamere you gotta kind of stay on top of. I apologize for this, and of course you do want to use your ult here. I was clicking it, I clicked it a split second too late, and yeah, that doesn't really... Yeah, as I've said before, these games are not meant to show you guys absolute perfect gameplay. They are meant to show you and kind of illustrate how they're supposed to be played. And when I make mistakes, I'll try to tell you what you're supposed to do instead. All right. So in terms of the laning phase, you want to do these 1v1s. You want to play it as well as you can. You don't want to push them on their turret unless you absolutely have to. If you push the enemy under their turret, it has to be either one, that you know where the enemy jungler is, or two, that you let's see if we can do this, or two that god dang it, this fight takes longer than expected. I do have my ult in case. Okay, so you only want to push them under turret in case that 1, you know where the jungler is, or 2, you want to reset and go for it back. If you want to go for it back, then push it under turret to reset the lane. That's really, really good to do. So do keep that in mind. All right. As soon as we gun the first turret down here, you have a couple of choices. So let's talk about kind of the... I just want to summarize a few things for the laning phase. First of all, now we know how to play the winning lanes. If you're struggling with some lanes, the best tactics most commonly is either 1, play safe under turret, and 2, if you have HP for it, try and go for these very quick trades that we talked about, using your auto attack and then spin away. Don't spin into them, but spin away. Okay, so that's basically most of the stuff for the laning phase. So what do you want to do when we actually get out of the laning phase? Well, Tryndamere is by his core a split pusher. And the way this works on Tryndamere is that we constantly want to try and stay as far away from the next objective as possible. So in this case, it's the Drake. That's why I'm staying topside. As soon as Drake is gone and the next objective is going to be topside, then I am potentially going to be rotating bot side. And the reason why we do this is not necessarily because it's going to be the place where it's just easy to run it down. It is because as Tryndamere, we know they have to send at least 1, probably 2 people in order to deal with us. And if we're really far away from the next objective, then we put our team in a situation where they're much more likely to win the engage because they're going to be outnumbering their opponent. And if they don't outnumber their opponent, then we're going to run down whatever side that is unprotected, or if it's only protected by 1 guy, then there's a good chance that we just beat them. And even versus a lot of stuff, we'll just run them down and we'll actually kill them straight under turret. And a few things here is also, whenever we do push ahead, and if we're like, okay, I can't beat this guy in a 1v1, then what we do instead is that we just go ahead and do what I'm looking for here. Is I'm like, okay, I'm probably not going to kill this Poppy right now. So instead I see Yasuo being pushed here, or maybe if they were doing, our team was doing a team fight, then what I'm doing is I'm pushing, then the enemy comes to respond to this split push up here. So let's do an example here. I push here, and let's imagine that the entire team of the enemy is in the mid right now. So when I push here, somebody's going to come and respond. Maybe I don't want this fight, but what I can do is I can push this, and as I push this, then I can start running to the mid instead. And as they send somebody to respond over here because they think I'm still here, then we're actually going to be outnumbering them over here. So this is very much the tactic with Tryndamere. He's not a great team fighter at all, but he is really, really good at creating outnumbering situations because of the macro play you can do on this champion. So running that, like constantly putting pressure. You can see now there are 2 people over here. I'm gonna grab this thing and I'm gonna run out of here because I think they're gonna notice me in a second. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna run over here. We're just gonna be running up top side. I see 2 people following me and they're not gonna be able to catch me. I highly doubt it. Okay, so a few things you want to do on Tryndamere is throughout the entire game, you want to make sure you keep your farm up. And that's what we're doing right now. Also, I need to start thinking about whether or not it's better for me to go bot side, because there's no objective in bot for the next 4 minutes, and Baron is up at this point. So going for a potential other lane at this point could be really good. This guy's pretty fed, so I'm a little hesitant to dueling him. Even though I do think that we will win it. So we're going to go ahead, give it a shot. And we're going to pop the ult. Right here, we are going to be able to proc his things. I'm going to use Ghost. We will get away from this guy, but he is going to probably dash in. All right, so we were pretty close, but he did have a more shield bow. And as I said, I did highly doubt that we would go ahead and win that matchup since this guy has 6 kills at this point. So we're going to back off. We're going to heal up a little bit. I'm going to have to... go back and buy in a moment, probably. The one thing I do need to be a little hesitant. He can actually go in on us here. And that's exactly what he's looking to do. Gonna dodge that one. And I'm gonna have... I'm simply just gonna have to back here. Yeah. So right here, we'll back off. We'll start finishing off our Quickblades, which is gonna be amazing for us. So let's grab this. It is a little sad that this guy's pretty fed. And at this point, he's hard for us to deal with one-on-one. But we will be able to as we finish our Quickblades. Gonna get a lot easier, and we also, I think, will build something like a what's it called, a modal shield bow, or a modal reminder, sorry, because that is gonna allow us to much easier deal with this guy. The reason why he's winning 1v1s right now is because of this shield bow that has this self-healing. You can see how we procced it really quickly. If he didn't have this, then even with the number of kills he has, he wouldn't be able to survive it. Anyway, right here, I am gonna keep pushing here. Ideally, I think I want to swap to bot side. The only reason why we went up here is because at this point there's so many of our teammates on the bottom side of the map right now that I don't think they will rotate away if I go down there. And I see actually the whole enemy team down there, more or less. I see 2. There's at least 2, 3 people there, 4 people now. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna push here. All right, we have Shaco here. Shaco's not going to go for this. Our team is sadly dying, like literally like flies in there right now, because otherwise what we would be looking to do is we would look to rotate. I don't think that's the right one. Nope. I don't really mind. We'll just go ahead. Right now, I'm taking a little bit of a risk by staying because I know that they might rotate. They're looking for this Baron. You can see how they're all chasing me now. Yeah, we're probably going to be dead here. We are going to be able to, hopefully... Okay, we can proc that guy's thing. We are going to die here, sadly. All right, so I'm going to rotate bot. However, this is not the worst thing that could happen because we are keeping them off Baron by these guys running around after us at this point. And now our entire team is back up and rest. So, this game is not going perfectly for sure. But what we are going to think about is... how do we put the most pressure on the map? And the constant thing you want to be doing when you're split pushing on a champion like Tryndamere, or basically most champions when you're split pushing, is you want to split push a side, and then you want to try and pull the enemies towards that side. And as they go there, you have 2 options. One, you can just pull a little bit back, wait for them to push it back, and they walk back up, and then you take the minions again. You keep doing this until they either stay there or they ignore you for a second and you push in the lane. Or when you do this, you can go ahead and duel them if you feel stronger. You can even tower dive them. Tryndamere can tower dive quite a lot of champions. Or your 3rd or 4th, what number we got to. Or our last option is that whenever we do this shot, then we force people down there, the enemy, to respawn. As they come down to respawn, we run up and join and start a fight with the rest of the enemy team in the wherever they are. So this like this way we can force an outnumbering situation. The thing with Tryndamere that can make it a little bit difficult is, of course, if your team has a tendency to constantly take fights where they just suicide and you're not really in a position to help out with it. Right here, I am just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna use my ghost, and they're gonna knock me so far away from it, but I'm still gonna be able to catch most of it up. But I'm a little bit afraid. Right here, I'm gonna back a little bit out of this. I do have ult, but I want to make sure that we get something out of it here. So right here, I'm gonna back out. We're gonna heal up. We did tank quite a bit. Hopefully this will be able to do something for our team. As we're getting away, there's not much I can do here anymore, but I know where the entire enemy team is. So what I'm going to do instead is that I'm going to hurry up. I'm going to rotate somewhere else, and I'm going to start pushing there. So this is one of the things you want to be thinking about whenever you're out of cooldowns and whenever you're pretty low. And if you know where the enemy team is, then you don't necessarily have to just go base. You can do something like this. You can go ahead right here. We will probably get this turret down. I'm a little unsure when Shaco rests, so he might be able to get to us. But you can see right here, we are just going to go ahead. Going to heal up a little bit as well. Yep. Okay, I should have backed out a little sooner. That costed us at least our flash. And we can Q up. We can E. Whew, that was a little close. That was really close, actually. That was really, really close. But as you can see, what we were doing, like I stayed for a second too long without a freaking doubt. But my point being is that whenever you are low, then even when you on a lot of other champs would be like, okay, I have to back, I have to do something else. Then right here on Tryndamere, because of his self-sustain, you can just say, okay, I know where the enemy is. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to put pressure somewhere else. You can see right there, we instantly put a lot of pressure on mid lane. They started rushing for that mid lane as quickly as they could. Oh, wow. I actually thought I was out of that one. Impressive. Now we're going to make sure we just get that one. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of pressure up here. So the thing is, at this point, I don't know why I have had a weird bug like the last couple of days, which is basically that I'm trying to set wards, but it won't let me, which is weird. I don't know why this is happening. It's never happened before. All right, so right here, I'm going to shove this forward. I'm not going to go further because there's no pressure on the map. Instead, I'm going to go take Scuttle, and I'm going to look to probably rotate bot because right now my entire team is up here. So I just want to take the Scuttle and I want to run down. Right here, it seems like Kalista is going to take it. I'll just help her a little bit. There we go. And we'll run on. And I'm not going to go ahead and take the mid side because I do want my Kalista to also get fed. So I'm going to run down bot and I'm going to push down here. And yes, thanks for this game. I think this is a really nice game to show things off. I can't do anything about this. She got caught. That's just, yeah, it's nothing I can do about it. Right now, our team is doing pretty horrendous in terms of getting caught by everything. But right here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to apply pressure bot. They will have to respond to me. The thing is, me going mid right now does nothing. Because if I go mid now, we just lose a 4v5 fight because we're outnumbered. So me going mid does nothing right now. But me pushing this does a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push here. So we're going to start looking at the enemy team. We're going to count. There's at least 5 or 4 up there for now. I don't know where Shaco is, but this means that at this point, if Shaco's on his way here, I at least created a equal situation. I see Shaco up there. This means that then nobody is protecting and I'll be able to just push here. So the only issue here is my team literally getting caught again and again and again. And there's nothing I could change about this, but I am going to trait them as much as I can for it. We're probably going to be getting this inhib as well. Maybe we can get the inhib. We'll go ahead, we'll push this. I'm just going to go directly onto inhib. I don't want to wait for the minions. Thing is, right here, I think we might just sack ourselves. We're going to go ahead, make sure we get this. And we're going to run. With a little bit of luck, I can get out with Ghost. And you can see we're not trying to get the best KDA at any point. We're just trying to be absolutely obnoxious for the enemy team in order to keep pushing this. So I see that this guy continuously runs after us. The thing is, Drake is coming up in 35. This Drake I will have to try and help with because of the fact that it is the soul. This is way too important for me to stay away. If I do stay away, we probably lose the game because my team has a tendency to literally throw things. The thing is, I don't have my ult for another 30 seconds or 25 seconds. So I really want this fight to wait a little bit if possible. This is of course completely out of my control. And again, it seems like my team is absolutely messing up. There's a good chance of so. I'm going to try and help out a little bit here. I do a lot of damage. We're really fit. And this is something that... Oh, that was actually... My bad. This is actually something that you really want to keep in mind. Right here, we're going to make sure we get this. And as we get that, we should actually be going Baron here and not going for necessarily... This is a risky play. Yes, if it works, we can potentially do something with it. But it's a really freaking risky play. I have ult again. Three, two, one. Whoop. And we got those. So right here, we won't be able to finish. But, whoop, we have a Shaco close by. We should be able to potentially go for Baron. So that's what I want to do. I want my team to go Baron here. And as you can see, like, even though we don't have the best score, we are putting so much pressure on the map. And yes, this has been kind of an awkward... Holy, I don't know why my ward, like my keybind from a ward doesn't work. I'm sorry I have to click it like this. It is just simply super awkward. All right. So right here, again, I don't know what my team entirely is doing. I really want to get this Baron. I'm going to stay on it because Shaco is running around randomly. All right, this is fine. And we're just going to smash this down. Before we back, I want to go... God dang it. I failed my E. Dang it, bro. All right, we're going to go up and push this back a little bit because there are some minions I didn't want to miss that I missed anyway now because, yeah, I failed my E because I'm an absolute retard. So that's cool. But I'm going to shove this and then we're going to go ahead and go for it back. Actually, we're going to stick for a second because I'm missing very, very little in order to finish or Ruined King, which I really want to finish. So we're going to go for that one. One thing I need to be a little aware of is that the push I'm doing here is a little bit risky. And I need to not do this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to run. The thing is that they're probably coming all for me. Yeah, right here. Which is great. No. My team should push here. Push. That's good. They can go this side because now we have all of them up here. I'm going to back out. We're going to sell this. Finish that. Take a control ward. Take a blue ward. Because of the fact that, anyway, I'm messing up with my wardings right now. I'm going to check for red buff. Ideally, I want this on my ADC, but my ADC is really far away. So I'm going to take the red buff if nobody takes it. I need my team to back out of this. Oh, I might have to go here. So if I don't go here, my team will lose this fight for sure. I'm going to use Ghost and we're just going to run as quickly as we can to try and finish this. All right, they actually didn't mess up that bad. But the fact is... You can see right here, we're just absolutely melting them. I'm probably going to die from this with a little bit of... we can get off. There we go. And this is the thing with Tryndamere, as you guys can see. It's such a good champion, but you do have to constantly evaluate whether or not you're going to go help your team or whether you're going to split push. The thing you got to think about is that with Tryndamere, you want to try and avoid taking 5v fights. What you want to be doing is that you want to make sure that either one, you're dueling people that you can duel. 2, if you cannot do that, you put pressure. Or 3, you go ahead and you pressure and then you group up with your team to outnumber your opponent. Whenever you do go for fighting with your opponents in team fights, you want to go for the squishy targets, the one that you can slap in the face really quickly and win those games. So yeah, this was not a perfect game in any way, but I feel like it really showed the potential of Tryndamere and the way you need to think about him. Make sure that you keep farming. Whenever you are unsure where the enemy is, go take some jungle from the enemy if you're pushed that far out and you know somewhat where they are and you're not in danger. Make sure that you constantly do this ping pong with back and forth, being like, push this lane, walk a little back, see how they respond, push it again, see how they respond. Suddenly they send 2 or 3 people there, maybe 2. Then you group up with your team and kill the other parts of their team. So constantly do this back and forth. If you're running with TP, then what you want to be doing is that you always want to be close to the objective when you don't have TP, meaning that that's the side you want to push on. But If you you do have TP, then the opposite side to make the road longer for your enemies. But with this, like, I personally really recommend running Ghost like we did here, where you can really run down your opponents quite easily. And it is just letting them push to you, poke them down a little bit if it's a hard comp. It's basically just going in, auto attack, E out of there, do it again, and just repeat this motion. Going for longer trades is rarely worth it, because it's gonna take off a big portion of your health, and it takes a while to build it back up if need be. Anyway, I really do hope you guys found this informative and helpful in any way, or entertaining for that matter. If you did, then make sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe down below if you're new here. And lastly, if you want to hang out with me live, go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. But yeah, this is gonna be it for this one. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.